All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Second Street Marvel. I'm your host, Trinity. Thank you all so much for being here today for the morning movie chat. Now, I do apologize for this morning. There was I did have I did have an event set up and all ready to go, but I've kind of learned that apparently these coming up with these events, having an existing event and go ahead and going on and getting onto this app and then starting it with an existing event doesn't seem to work too well. So we're gonna go ahead and I just started this new one, and we'll see how this works out, if it works a little bit better than it did with the existing event that I had created. So anyway, all that aside, I hope you're all doing well today. God, can you guys believe that it's already Friday? This year has flown by. Once again, the year's flown by, and we're almost at the end of it. We're here. It's Friday, and man, we've only got a few days left in the year before we get this new year started. But anyway, I hope you're all doing well today. Thank you all so much for being here. Once again, I just like yesterday, I am gonna go ahead and take a walk down the road here as we talk and have our morning movie chat. And let me know down in the comments below, did you get a chance to see The Mandalorian episode 8? And if so, what are your thoughts on it? I know I had a late night last night and ended up getting a chance to watch it before I fell asleep, and kind of start watching it a little bit more this morning. Once again, the season finale here, so we could talk about it. So let me know what you guys thought about it down in the comments below. So we got season 8 of The Mandalorian. It is now here. It's all over. It's all over, folks. So I don't know, if you ask me, I say that's a good thing. That's a good thing. But what if you did get a chance to see it and watch all of the season so far? What are your thoughts on Mandalorian episode 8? And what are your thoughts overall on the season as a whole? I thought it was actually pretty good. This episode 8, it was very good. This one was actually episode 8 was directed by Taika Waititi. And I gotta say, you can definitely tell the filmmaking expertise or experience, if you will, of Taika Waititi in this episode. We've seen that each one of these episodes seems to have a different director. Some of them have. It seems like most of them did more than one. We got Dave Filoni, who did 2. Deborah Chow, who did two episodes as well. We had Bryce Dallas Howard that did 1. We got Taika Waititi that did 1 as well. And I can't remember. I want to say there was another director that directed some as well, and I just can't think of who it was right now. But I gotta say, this last episode was really, really good. The way that this new episode opened up was was hilarious. Though it opened up and it did these Taika Waititi type of things, I guess you could say, as far as some of the comedy and whatnot that was going on, because it opens up with I guess they weren't stormtroopers. They would have been I'm not sure which troopers they would have been. I'm not the best on the lore here of Star Wars. You'd have to talk to my brother Lord Callus. He knows all that stuff, and but I can't remember which kind of troopers these were here at the very beginning. But it opened up with some hilarious comedy where they were sitting there after they had retrieved the child from the end of episode 7, and it goes on. They stop and they're having a conversation, and it shows some of the typical stormtrooper type of comedy where we can see that these guys can't shoot anything. I mean, there's like a there's a piece of, I don't know whatever it is, sitting there on the ground, and they all take, they pull out their little blasters and they take aim and they start shooting at it, and they can't even hit it from a few feet away. Absolutely hilarious. They have some pretty funny banter Now, the banter that they're exchanging is, while it's pretty funny, I got to say that, it's very typical of Taika Waititi, something that you would see in Taika Waititi directed film, so far as we know. I mean, when he's doing these kinds of things, I haven't seen, I honestly can't say I've really seen anything more directed by Taika Waititi than Thor Ragnarok, but I think that gives you a pretty good feel for what he does and his work, and we see some of that definitely prevalent in this episode, and I thought it was pretty good. Wookiee Supremacy, thank you so much for being here. We got Nerdy Blurb TV. What's going on, man? He says, get those steps in. Yes. Bake the Snake. What's up, my brother? How you doing? Vlad Riot says, had to reload apparently. Vlad, I had the event set up, and for whatever reason, here on the Streamlabs app through mobile, it doesn't allow me to, it won't let me go on to an existing event and create it and work off of it. So I'm not really sure what's going on with that. But thank you so much for getting back here, Vlad. I appreciate it. I know I seen AFK Bard was on there as well, had left some comments, but yeah, I apologize for that, guys. Maybe one of these days Streamlabs can get that all worked out here. The one thing I will say though is I've noticed they don't I don't see the little Streamlabs, it's supposed to have a I don't know what you call it, where it shows Streamlabs here in the bottom corner. It's not showing that, so hey, I'll give him that. Bake the Steak says, great episode. Wish they didn't reveal his face though. Yeah, I was gonna say, and that was something I thought it was kind of cool that they actually did that. But at the same time, I kind of feel like they shouldn't have. When it was getting ready to go down, you kind of knew that it was gonna happen, and I knew. I don't know. I guess that was some of the predictability of the episode. You could tell. After he got hurt and the robot was there. You almost knew that everything that was going to happen. He's like, the robot's like, I'm not a living thing. I believe it's IG-11. He's like, I'm not a living thing. He's like, okay, and he go ahead and gives into it. Yeah, I kind of wish that didn't happen. And at the same time, at some point, I think we all knew it was going to happen. I mean, I guess that's just some of the predictability of something like that, especially with, you got a Mandalorian there, and it just, how they stick to that code and not showing their face. So it almost seemed like something that was inevitable to happen from episode 1, you can't keep your identity secret forever, Peter Parker, you know what I mean? Let's see, Samuel David, thank you so much for being here. And Vlad says, yeah, Bard was here too. Yeah, hopefully he shows back up. Maybe, hopefully gets a notification or whatnot. But yeah, we got this episode 8. It was really good. Like I said, you could tell the Taika Waititi is more of an experienced director than most of the other directors they got on here. Even this episode even shows like Deborah Chow, as good as the episodes that she done. We can tell there's a little more expertise as far as what Taika Waititi does, as far as like directing people, getting the episode, putting enough in it. The pacing of the episode was really good, where some of that experience doesn't quite show through for some of the other directors on the other episodes. And that's okay. Because a lot of these, directors, I mean, this is just a TV show, and it does have a big production, like a movie-like production. And that's one of the good things here is where these other directors probably all get to work with the obviously Dave Filoni, who has the experience with the cartoons as far as directing those, but also the experience of working with producer. Oh man, why all of a sudden did I forget Jon Favreau's name? You know what I'm saying? And working with Jon Favreau and getting some experience there, and we can see that Taika Waititi already brought that experience to the table. And I think, if you go through and look at these episodes, it's pretty apparent that he does have the experience and the others didn't. And that's not a bad thing, because these directors need that experience. I know a lot of directors actually start off in TV if they're not one of these directors who actually kind of goes out and does their own thing, really. You kind of got to get your foot in the door in a way and get experience under your belt. And I think that shows throughout some of these episodes that we have gotten of The Mandalorian so far. And it's not a bad thing, like the worst episodes out of this season were definitely the ones directed by Dave Filoni, and that's not to say he's a bad director, but you can see definitely he don't have quite that experience in directing people and things like that. So again, I believe he'll improve. I believe he'll improve in the future. But yeah, I definitely did like this episode. It's like I said, the pacing of it was really good. We start off with some kind of funny laughs. Then we go into the town where the guys were Grief Karga and Cara Dune, and I guess we now know his name is Dim Sum. Was there? Oh, it wasn't Dim Sum. Oh God, I can't remember what his name was. All of a sudden, Din Djarin. Wasn't that what it was? Din Djarin was the Mandalorian's name. We see him there on lockdown as the Moff. I can't remember. It wasn't Moff Tarkin, but I can't remember the Moff's name. Shows up. Who was he shows up and he speaks real matter of fact that some of the things that happen in there. I thought it was kind of funny that he comes in and gives them a warning and gives them time to think about what he's going to do instead of just outright attacking them. I think that's a little bit odd, crazy negotiating tactic, although that he knows that they were just trying to escape the whole time. Okay, yeah, Moff Gideon, yeah, there we go. Let's see. Oh man, there we go. Baked the Snake says, I'm glad I'm a little more mixed feelings on it, or when they did maybe change the view so its viewers couldn't see. Yeah, definitely. I hear what you're saying there. Definitely. Vlad Rice says, if I win the lottery one day, I will make 2 shows, both in style of Game of Thrones. One about the Crusades, one about the Viking Age. Nice. Yeah, that actually sounds pretty cool. That sounds pretty cool, and it would be nice to be able to do that. Win the lottery and make some shows. AFK Bard says, hey, your last live stream canceled out while I was in the kitchen. I didn't realize you were live. Oh, I'm sorry, AFK Bard. For whatever reason. I'm not even sure if that actually went live or not, because for some reason the Streamlabs app it's a little testy, and I was just hoping that it would work. And let me know down in the comments below if it actually did work and I actually canceled that stream for no reason. Please let me know that, because yeah, like I said, this Streamlabs app for mobile doesn't seem to be the best. But yeah, so we see the heroes, locked down. They end up having to make their escape after a confrontation with the Moff and his crew, which I thought was really well done. That's where and that's again where we see a lot of the expertise of Taika Waititi coming in there, where they like I said, the action was really well done. You could follow it. It wasn't it was just really well handled. And again, the pacing of it, it starts off with some funny stuff, it slows down, gets you back into the show and what was going on, picks up with some action, slows back down, enough to give you some more character moments. And then we've seen the unmasking of the Mandalorian with the IG-11 unit. Some very cool stuff. The IG-11 unit making some kind of jokes to put the Mandalorian at ease as he was helping him. Just good stuff. And then we've seen that they went underground into the sewers to get to where all the Mandalorians were hanging out. And we've seen all the pile of all the different Mandalorian armor there, and I think that was kind of cool. I just, for some reason, I don't know, it could be me. Am I the only one that thinks that the Mandalorians wouldn't do that? I kind of feel like the Mandalorians wouldn't reveal themselves like that, and take off their armor and reveal themselves like that. It just doesn't. It seems unlikely. It just seems unlikely that they would do that. But am I the only one that noticed there's one of the helmets there on the pile? And of course, it didn't show a good clear shot of it that looked It looked like Boba Fett's helmet. I could be wrong there, but it looked more the colors of the Boba Fett helmet. That's kind of what I thought. And then we see that the Mandalorian finally did get his signet, and I'm not sure what that signet was. That signet was a little odd to me. And we see that they talk about I'm not sure, I can't remember what her name is, the one who makes all the armor for the Mandalorians. She knew about what they were, what those species were, the Yoda's species, if you will, what they were and what they could do. And she knew about them. But I think the interesting thing here is kind of that whole setup right there is really obviously what's going to be going on for season 2, as far as him. He's basically now the surrogate parent, if you will, of this new foundling. And that was the interesting thing, because they called him a foundling. And so I guess in that sense, does that make the baby Yoda species here? Does that make the child? Okay, does that make the child a Mandalorian now? Part of their creed. I thought that was kind of funny. I know I'm not the only one who thought that was kind of funny too. That they were calling it the Mandalorian Creed, and we got Apollo Creed standing right next to the Mandalorian. Come on, that was a little on the nose there, guys. Come on, it was funny though. It was good. But I thought it was very interesting, some of that conversation, how we see that the Mandalorian is going to be taking on the responsibility for the child and returning him. That's obviously what season 2 is going to be about, is returning him to his home planet and to his people. And it's going to be very interesting going into season 2, seeing exactly what all that's going to entail, the adventures that they're going to have together. We can tell there's things implied throughout this episode with with Cara Dune and Mando also. We could tell they obviously have a thing for each other somewhat. AFK Bart says, I'd say excuse me. AFK Bart says, I'd shamelessly buy an action figure for each of the Mandalorian characters. It's been far too long since I felt the excitement that I do for the show. I agree. Yeah, those it would be cool to have one for each one of the different Mandalorians. Definitely. Agreed. Aggressively Relaxing, thank you so much for being here. Says, you said I should make a vid explaining how Marvel's continuity is better than it has ever been, but Marvel beat me to it with this week's incoming #1. Check it out. I'll check that. I'll see if I can check that out. I've heard, different mixed reviews on the incoming book. So yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll take your advice and I'll check that out. Bake the Snake says, I like how Mando got his Siddle, and Baby Yoda kind of has one to match. Oh yeah, his signet, one to match Mando's old necklace. Yes, yeah, definitely. Bake the Snake says, yeah, I don't think the Mandos would do that, but maybe the only way for them to escape without harm. Yeah, and that could be. That's something I kind of took into consideration. It just seemed a little unlikely that the Mandos would do that, but again, I could be wrong. Aggressively Relaxing says, Star Wars action figures are so lame now. 375 kept the franchise alive, and now it's being disrespected. Oh man, oh, that's funny. Bake the Snake says, it was the rhino thing the Baby Yoda saved him from. Okay, is that what the signet was? Okay. Yeah, I was kind of unsure because I was looking at it, I'm like, what is that? What is that? And she also said that they are now a clan of 2. So that's what I thought was pretty interesting, is she says they're a clan of 2. And so it makes me think, like, is Baby Yoda now a Mando? Is he a Mandalorian now? Interesting. Just interesting things, that whole interaction there. And I'll probably watch this episode over a couple of times just to see and make a little more sense of that. AFK Bart says, it was a congratulatory pin for Mando becoming a daddy. Yes. Bake the Snake says, if he doesn't find Baby Yoda's family, then yes, he will train him the ways of the Mando. Yeah, and I believe that too. And I think he might anyway, because I think she alluded to that pretty much. The armory maker. Bake the Snake says, but Baby Yoda won't grow fast enough for him to actually teach him. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's an interesting thing, because we know that Baby Yoda is 50 years old. So interesting, some of the intricacies that something like that kind of entails. Big Snake says, bro, how about the final scene with the dark saber? Yes. Yeah, that was another interesting thing. And that brings me up to something else I wanted to mention too. I'm glad you reminded me about that. Let's see. And aggressively relaxing says, little tiny Mando armor. Little tiny. Yeah. That is interesting, like you were saying there, Bake, about that, about the dark saber, because that was another thing that I thought a Mandalorian, aside from them stripping off all their armor and revealing themselves, I also don't see them. I also don't see Mandalorian walking away from that confrontation without going to that ship and checking to see that the Moff was dead. I just don't see that happening. It seems unlikely in that sort of scenario. I think after that confrontation, the Mando would definitely go check out and make sure that he's dead. You don't, when you have that formidable of a foe, you don't just kill them and assume that they're dead unless you John Wick their ass. Unless you got that headshot, you don't assume that they're dead. I would think that I would think that Mandalorian would definitely know something like that. To go check that. AFK Bard says, I have to take the pup out. Don't do anything crazy while I'm gone. I'll try not to. Bake the Snake says, makes total sense, because Gideon was the one to wipe out the Mandos. Yeah, it could, I guess. It could. He says, oh yeah, gotta double check to make sure he's dead, especially since Mando knew his past. Yeah, and that was the interesting thing too, was how did this Moff Gideon know his name, and know who all these people were. Like, it makes sense that he knows who Cara Dune is, and and he knew her full name, That was the thing, is they kind of, you have to kind of assume that he does know everything, based on what we get in the episode, because he obviously has his finger on the pulse of his intergalactic society, if you will, because he knew all their names. It seemed, it seemed obvious that he would know who Grief Karga was, because that's kind of, he's the guy dealing out all the bounties and things like that. But as far as knowing Mando, that was kind of interesting, and I'm glad they actually touched on that, why he would know, instead of just kind of leaving that to mystery, because we've got plenty of things left to mystery, and I think that's one of the good things about when it comes to like Star Wars and stuff like that, like where we seen where the prequel episodes, they didn't really ever leave anything to mystery, which was kind of hard too, because we all kind of knew where it led to. But that was one of the things, is when it comes to these films, these TV shows, is you don't have to tell us everything. Sometimes it's good to leave us hanging in mystery. United Comics Universe says, hello everybody, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well today. Fatal J says, outside videos are cool, aren't they, bro? Yes, it is. It's kind of nice to get out here and do this. I mean, I wish I had the good, production, the good quality of production that I had with my normal stream at home and everything. But hey, man, I think this gets the job done. And plus, you guys get to see this beautiful country that I'm hanging out right now here in Arlington, Washington. So, but yeah, it's certainly nice. And man, it feels good out here too. Like, I know I'm kind of bundled up a little bit, but I think it said it was like, when I was leaving the house, it said it was like 32 degrees out, but it doesn't feel it that much. It doesn't feel it that much for me not being out on my bicycle and getting my heart pumping and stuff like that. But yeah, it is nice. Fatal J says, Trinity, I'm still laughing from your Twitter video. Yeah. Yeah, and thanks for bringing that up, Jay. something else I wanted to touch on here in just a second. But so what are your guys' thoughts on the Mandalorian season so far? Like I said, I think episode 8 was really good. We could tell that we had an experienced director at the helm of this episode. Just in the way it was formatted and everything, we could tell Taika Waititi has more experience than some of the other directors that have come on board. Overall, for the season, I gotta say I'm pretty satisfied. I think they did a great job in building this world, building upon the lore of characters that we already know. If only, if only we could say so much for the recent for this new sequel trilogy. If only we could say the same for that. I think they did a really good job, and again, that partially comes down to the producer here. Obviously, we've got Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau producing this, and I know lots of people have bad things to say about Kathleen Kennedy and all that stuff, but she got the right people to put this show together. In the sense that she picked the right people. They came in. They had a plan for moving forward with it. Altogether, I've got to say that the season, I feel like it was a real success, and definitely something to piggyback off of the next season off of. They did a really good setup, and I've got to say that I'm very happy with what we've got. It definitely has its ups and downs. I think the down points were definitely the episodes that Dave Filoni directed. Then we get some of those excellent episodes that Deborah Chow directed, and then we get this last episode. The one thing I didn't like about the season finale was the fact that it was Taika Waititi and just his style that he brings to the table in directing, with some of the humor and stuff like that. It was nice to see that. I feel that the humor that was in this episode is actually Star Wars humor, where one of my biggest nitpicks of The Last Jedi and even The Rise of Skywalker is some of the comedy in it, where The Last Jedi came in and it had some of that, some of that sarcasm and stuff that just didn't seem to work very well, that I didn't like. We're here, I think that we had a pretty good balance of all of that. And I think Taika Waititi, I think he took it a little too far with some of the comedy in it. But again, I think it was more fitting of this universe. But altogether, I got to say, I'm very happy with this season, and I'm definitely looking forward to season 2 of The Mandalorian, obviously. And what are your guys' predictions on what season 2 is going to be about? Obviously, we're going to be seeing the Mando spending more time with the child, and trying to get him to his home world, and that's going to be interesting too. Once he actually, when and if he actually gets the child to his home planet and his people, which, I'm almost of the opinion that might not even happen. I think that might not even happen. Let's see. Bake the Snake says, how about IG-11 on the speeder? Badass. But if he's in Baby Yoda protect mode, why would he go straight into the battle? Yeah, definitely agreed. Yeah, it does seem a little odd, but and especially about considering that he was supposed to now be basically in nurse mode or whatever, but yet he's there battling when he wasn't programmed to do that anymore. Because I think at the one point when he was there battling, he wasn't just protecting the baby Yoda. You know what I mean? I don't know. Let's see. Fatal J says, IG-11 was amazing. Moff Tarkin, a.k.a. Giancarlo Esposito, is an incredible actor. The music was incredible. Yeah, agreed, definitely. It was nice to finally see Giancarlo Esposito come in and play his role. I mean, we really only got a tease of him in episode 7. So yeah, it was definitely nice to see that. You can definitely tell he has a presence too. He has a presence in his acting abilities and things like that. It was very good. Fatal J says, I'm like you, Trinity. I'm satisfied with the season. It was really good. Yeah, it was. Could it have been better? Yeah. But again, I mean, I think the really only downfalls is those couple episodes that were directed by Dave Filoni. But again, he's new. He's somewhat new to the directing live action. So, I'm willing to totally give him some leeway with that. Aggressively Relaxing says, I think we can all agree Disney continues to hit it out of the park for real Americans. Yes. Yeah, man. America. Oh, we're keeping it PG. You know what I'm saying, though. when they try to hit it out of the park, aggressive. Yeah, when they try to, when they try to. Aggressive Reaction says, I hope season 2 is about Mando finding a good school district and the struggle of getting enrolled. And being able to head out to Kohl's and get some good cargo pants and work gloves. Cousin Angel, thank you so much for being here. Says, the season finale made me shit in my pants. Yeah, the season finale was really good. Again, I think they were smart in getting an experienced director to come in there and tie it all up at the very end. I did think that was really good. Bake the Snake says, there were only 2 bad episodes, and they weren't really bad. Just less movie-like and more TV-like. Yeah, definitely. And those, I'm sure you're probably talking about the same ones that were directed by Dave Filoni, and that was, what was that, episode 1 and episode 5? Because to me, those 2 episodes in itself kind of messed up the pacing of the season overall. Like, the season probably could have been 9 episodes maybe, and just been cut a little bit different. But again, that's just me. But I think they did get it all done really well and tied up really well. But yeah, I mean, I gotta say, altogether, I'm happy with it. Hopefully things continue in the same direction with the Mandalorian going into season 2. Hopefully they bring us some more new talent, maybe some new directors, and hopefully they bring Dave Filoni back to see so we can see more of his experience and more what he's gotten in future episodes. I mean, we can already tell that when it comes to the Obi-Wan series, Deborah Chow's going to do one hell of a job. Maybe we'll see if Bryce Dallas Howard comes back and directs another episode, because I thought her episode that she did was actually pretty good as well. But yeah, that's altogether, I am very satisfied with it. Very satisfied with it. Okay, so now getting back to what Fatal J was talking about earlier. I'm not sure if you guys if you guys follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, but I am going to be switching a few things up here on the channel, probably going into this new year, just so I can get some more cross-platform stuff, because I don't utilize Facebook as much or Instagram as much. So I will probably, I guess that's one of my New Year's resolutions for the channel here, is to not only hopefully bring you guys some more interesting and good content, but to utilize Facebook a little bit more. I am going to probably start dropping my comic book pull lists on Facebook instead of just on YouTube. I may not even put them on YouTube anymore. I don't know. I may just add them to the playlist without premiering them or anything. Maybe just put them on private, or put them on unlisted and put them in the public playlist. Because if you guys don't know, if you guys are content creators out there, if you can take a video and have it unlisted and put it in a public playlist, and people can still go watch it. So I'm not sure if you guys knew that, but that's probably what I may do with my comic book pull list. And then I'll just bring the comic book reviews there on the channel, and some of those the commentary and stuff like that. So just to give some of my followers over there a little bit more to look forward to. So you guys should definitely make sure that you go follow me on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter at the same thing, at Second Street Marvel is where you can find me. I was able to find a name that wasn't taken across all platforms, so I took it. But yeah, if you guys don't follow me on Twitter, yesterday I made this post that got a lot of people laughing. Because in case you guys don't know, there was recently a purge on YouTube where they go and they deleted a bunch of people's subscribers, and like me, and I know a lot of people take this stuff really seriously, you know what I mean, and that's cool, because I don't want to take my subscribers and viewers for granted or anything like that. You know what I mean? I appreciate each and every single one of you for being here and being subscribers on the channel, watching my channel, and things like that. I really do. But at the end of the day, I don't take it so seriously that when I lose subscribers or anything like that, I'm not super upset about it. I've got a life, I've got a business, I've got a family. My life don't revolve around all this stuff. And I don't, if you guys follow me here long enough, you'll see that I don't really take too much ego in any of this stuff, man. Like, I'm just here to have fun and enjoy myself and hopefully entertain you guys and bring you guys some good content that has some value. Hopefully you find at least a little bit of value in it. And so I seen like over the past like day or so that people had been losing subscribers, and I get it, it's serious business. I mean, it's pretty serious, but like I said, I don't take this stuff seriously. And I've seen a number of people on on Twitter posting about losing subscribers and stuff, and naturally me, like I'm dude, I just like being funny and having funny takes on things, you know what I mean? And yeah, I made this post on Twitter where I was like, I lost subscribers, and I don't know, it was pretty funny. And a lot of people started reacting to it and things like that. And my brother Drunk 3PO in our private chat there, he's like, hey man, like, this is serious stuff, man. For some people, I'm like, yeah, it is. Like, I get it, like, it's just like, I'm not I'm not to the point where I would like, I'm not gonna make a big deal of it. Even if I lost half my subscribers right now due to like a YouTube purge or nothing, I'm not gonna like post about it a whole lot and be like, I lost these subscribers, YouTube, you're so terrible, I hate you, so I just like making very making fun of things like that, and not necessarily making fun of the people who are doing it, because like I said, I get it, it's serious business. There are some people who when it comes to the YouTube and the thing, this is like their main source of income, and hey, I get it. So like I said, whenever you see me making some of these kind of jokes like that, I am just being funny, maybe a little facetious, but and I get why some people would take it serious. Like when the whole COPPA thing came down, people were like, oh my God, COPPA, like, I think I seen one video where there was like a dude like literally crying that his channel was gonna get shut down. And I get it, because and that's the whole thing too. Something that basically that Young Rippa 5'9" has even echoed here on his channel when it comes to some of those things. Also, is basically it boils down to don't put all your eggs in one basket. You know what I mean? You shouldn't do that. And that's why I want to continue to grow some of my influence and things over on things like Facebook and stuff like that. And as a matter of fact, for me, I'll probably have a little bit more luck on Facebook if I were to be on Facebook doing that, because more of my friends and everything are on Facebook, and I have more of a following, I guess, if you will. I'm a little more of an influencer over there on Facebook, but just so much kind of took me away from Facebook that kind of led me here to YouTube. So but yeah, and that's why I want to kind of start to grow some of that stuff across different platforms. I do have a Twitch account as well, like, but not like a creator one, and I've been thinking about doing some of that stuff. But again, I know that Twitch is more for gaming, and I'm not really much of a gamer, but I do know that you can obviously can do other stuff there on Twitch as well. But maybe that's something I need to do. Maybe I need to start a Discord. And part of the reason that I don't with some of that stuff as well is because, like, this isn't my full-time gig. It will probably, I've talked about this before, it will probably never be my full-time gig. I have a family, I've got, and stuff like that, and I've got a job, and you know what, and that's the thing, is I don't have a job, as a matter of fact. I guess you could say I'm unemployed in the fact that I'm a small business owner. I'm my own boss, and with that comes certain freedoms, certain stresses as well. Different stresses that it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody, but it does allow me the freedom to do a lot of the things that I want to do in my life. Whether that's be there for my family when I should be, when I need to be, taking time off for kids functions and things like that. Being able to do my morning, being able to do this morning show for about an hour every morning. It allows me to do that. If I had a regular job, then I'm basically a slave to somebody else's time, to somebody else's schedule and what they want me to do. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that if that's for you. Believe me, I was I was an employee for a long time, for my whole life, up until, about 6 years ago. So, I mean, that's generally what most people do. I mean, that's kind of what our society would deem as normal, if you would. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I knew in my last years of working at my job, pretty much once my oldest daughter was born, I wasn't really as much into it, wasn't as much of a company man, wasn't as invested in things like that. They asked me for overtime. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good. Because, I always felt like if I can't get my job done in the 8 hours I need to get it done in, I'm not very good at my job. Especially in the position I was in. I always felt like if I can't get my job, because I was a supervisor, and I felt like if I can't get my job done in the time that I needed to get it done in, for one, I'm not doing my job good enough, and two, I should be able to leave my job, my work, with the people I have that I'm in charge of, that I'm over, and be able to trust them to do it without me having to be there to make sure that they're doing it. And again, this comes down to just like the leadership and stuff that, the principles and things that I believe in. Is like, I'm not doing my job as a supervisor if I can't leave work for a day and count on things to get done to my standards in the way that I feel they need to be done. And different things like that. And I could go on and on about that kind of stuff all day long when it comes to like those leadership and stuff like that, because that's something I've been I've really spent a lot of time kind of developing in myself, is not only being a team player, but being a leader in the fact of knowing how to get people trained to do what they need to do when I'm not there, knowing what expectations are and things like that. I always kind of felt that those were things that are very, very important. I always like to, I always took my people and, I let them know my expectations, and regularly, I did that kind of stuff regularly. Like, here's my expectations. Here's what I want. Here's what I expect. Now, I don't expect you, like, I expected perfection. You know what I mean? I expected perfection, but what I wanted was, I knew nobody can live up to perfection. Nobody's that good, but that's, I want them to know that that's my expectation, and, just kind of the level and where it went to, and what I found was actually acceptable. And I feel I did really good at that, and that's where, it's just something that I kind of developed over my times in doing that. And, I think a lot of those kinds of things, and that's why I was talking about yesterday towards the end of the stream, that I'm really into that kind of stuff. And it takes time to develop leadership, to build up teams and teamwork. And that's kind of where I first started really developing that, was in teamwork before I really developed all my leadership skills. But, there's some people that are natural born leaders, and there are some people that aren't. But it is a skill that can be taught. But, I think where I started to pick a lot of that up from was just in things, in a lot of things, that we take for granted, and maybe you don't look too much into, but like sports. I used to look at like a lot of the like NFL coaches and the teams that they ran and things like that. That for measures of success and how they go and do things like that. Like, I know there's when it comes to like sports, a lot of people, people have their different teams that they like, but and I'm definitely not a New England Patriots fan. But when you go and you look at great coaches in history, you got to look at a guy like Bill Parcells, or not Bill Parcells, but I mean, Bill Parcells is definitely one you got to look at. But you got to look at, oh man, why all of a sudden did I forget his name? Bill Belichick. And why he's one of the greatest coaches of all time, and that there may ever be in the game, is he coached his people up. You know what I mean? He makes he makes a dime into a dollar. You know what I mean? He would get people. He would let them know what their expectation was, and whether you were a third stringer or whatnot, he would basically get into like, you need to know your role. You need to know your position. Because you never know when your time might be up. And we can see that he'd done that time after time, season after season. He's found those successes in getting those expectations to people, knowing what he expects of them, and their performance, what he expects out of their performance as well. And knowing things like that, he knows how to get the pieces and put them all together. He knows how to take somebody who may not be the best talent and make them into a good talent. And that all comes in with team building, getting people their teamwork to work together towards a common goal. And that's something I had started to develop a long time ago. And it's something that's always kind of interested me. I've always kind of took that and tried to apply it to everything in my life, and I think that's largely why I've been successful in a lot of arenas, and why when I started this channel, I felt it was something that I could do and be successful at. I've never I'm not a defeatist. You know what I mean? I don't ever look at a goal or a task ahead of me and ever think I can't do it. I'm always optimistic and hopeful that I can do it. And if there's something I can't do, I will push towards that goal. And and that kind of went off the rails here, what I was talking about with that post from Twitter. But yeah, I was just kind of laughing about some of those things, out there with the purge of subscribers and stuff like that. And like I said, I don't take it for granted. I don't want to take my subscribers for granted or anything like that. But I also don't see that it's like that big of a deal. Even though it can, and it is at the same time. But for me, it's not always about numbers. Like me, I'm after an engaged audience. I'm after people who are here. I'm after you people. You know what I mean? After you folks who are here, who come to the channel regularly, who come and hear what I have to say regularly and things like that. And because you guys help me build the audience. You know what I mean? So you guys are an important factor in that. So I don't take that for granted, because I think it's something very important. In those respects. And so I do think like YouTube doing this purging and everything, it's kind of it's not cool. Like I said, people do work hard on their channels, do work hard building their audiences and things as well for this stuff. So I get why people take it seriously and do take it to that level, where maybe they get emotional, maybe they are actually really upset, and I get that, and I can understand that. And again, because I think some of these people are people who rely a little bit more on just this platform, where it should be cross-platform. You should have other streams of income, other things that you're invested in that are going to help you make that money. And in case you guys don't know, and I say investing, that's a serious thing, because investing doesn't mean that you're just investing your time into your channel and building that and building your influence. It also has to do, your investment is in other people. That's where that ultimately comes down to. I guess that's kind of the roundabout conversation here with the leadership and teamwork, is investing in other people. That's how you become a person of influence. That's how you get people to want to come to your channel. That's how you get all that YouTube algorithm stuff. It's all through the same thing. It's all through a level of influence that you have. It's also, you got to know your keywords, your tags, and all that kinds of stuff too. But ultimately, it's about, just as with anything else in life, it's about helping yourself by helping others. And I think that's very important. And I think a lot of people lose sight of that, or maybe that's some of the things that some people don't actually know when it comes down to certain things. Is that's what it's really about, is investing in other people, investing in your viewers, and doing things like that. And that doesn't mean that you have to do like a bunch of giveaways or anything like that. And you could go on YouTube and find plenty of people who find a lot of success without doing giveaways or any of that kinds of stuff. You can find there's people out there who are successful without investing in others, in the sense that they are trying to help bring attention to others, helping prop other people up, and bringing other people to the forefront. Sometimes it's about investing in other people and your content and providing value for people. So again, I think a lot of that stuff is important, and that's why I say I understand why people would be upset with things like this YouTube purge and stuff. It is pretty serious business when it comes right down to it. if you're a creator who is looking for that, who is looking to this as a source of income, as a creator who is looking to build an audience and grow their influence and things like that. So I get it, but at the same time, I kind of take it all in stride, and I take it very lightheartedly in just in those respects. So I definitely get it when people are upset about all this stuff. But again, that comes down to not putting all your eggs in one basket as well. You gotta diversify, if you will. You got to diversify your portfolio. You see how I'm getting that professional talk on now. But yeah, I think those kinds of things are important. So I understand why people will take those things seriously. But again, when I made that video, I was just joking. I was being a little tongue in cheek, because I do understand that people take it seriously. And I mean, as much as I am trying to put into this and invest in it, and I do take it seriously, I just, and those, I know some people look at those kind of videos and go like, bro, are you talking about me? Are you taking shots at me? Like, man, like, like, no. If I'm, when it comes to those kinds of things, if I'm talking about anything specific or anyone specific, I'll always say so, you know what I mean? Because, like, I'm not one of those people who, like, goes out there, like some people were, I've got to take shots at people just to get attention and just to build my audience. So people are like, ooh, this guy's controversial, let's go follow him. And that works for some people as well. You know what I mean? That works for some people as well. And I think some of it is, there's nothing wrong with being critical. The only thing is we see a lot of people out there who want to go out there and be critical, but then can't handle the criticism right back. And I'm more than willing to. I can take all of that stuff. You know what I mean? I think, some people, like I said, look a little too much into that stuff. But yeah. Anyway, guys, I'm sorry. I went and rambled on about that stuff for quite a while. I'm sorry about that, guys. But let's see what you guys are saying here in the comments section. Let's see if it'll let me. Oh, come on, man. There we go. Okay, oh yeah, man, you guys are pretty active today, man. That's cool. Aggressively relaxing says, Mando is like pizza. When it's good, it's great. When it's okay, it's great. Also, it's Jedi Master Dave Filoni. He didn't spend all that time with George Lucas to be called Mr. AFK Bard says, I'm back. What did I miss? Nothing, just, just there. Well, you probably caught most of it. I was talking just about some like leadership and stuff like that. Teamwork. Aggressively relaxing says, I run to check my sub count. Oh, good. It's basically nothing. But it should be more, because aggressively, you're a funny dude, man. I like your content, man. You guys should definitely go check Aggressively Relaxing out. Bake the Snake too, another good creator, another one of part of the comic book community that I have joined and have been absolutely awesome. The comic book community on YouTube is fantabulous. They're the best. They really are. Very supportive, very, very interactive. And I know on some of them I need to go and probably turn notifications on for most of my comic book creator friends, so I can see more of their videos. Because that's one of the things, like, a lot of things you can go out there and you see a bunch of different reviews on and things like that, and you get different perspectives. And that's the one thing about comics that's really nice is, something I've talked about here on the channel a lot is, just because we like something the same, just because we both like this comic book, doesn't mean we both like the same things about it. So it's nice seeing those different perspectives out there. Bake the Snake says, I had no idea Bryce Dallas Howard directed an episode. Love her and her dad, but I looked up the episode she directed of Mando, and it was the one that was more TV like episode 4. Yeah, episode 4. Yeah, that's the one she directed. And yeah, it was one of the ones that was more TV episodic. And again, I'm not sure how much directing experience that she has. I don't think it was her directorial debut, but you can see the experience there, or maybe the lack of, if you will, that she brought to the table. And it wasn't bad, but you can tell that she needs more experience there in making directing a film or something like that, I guess you could say. Definitely. Baked the Snake says, no big deal. Like Aggressive said, it's still good pizza. Indeed it is. Chaos and Comics says, I'm a slave. Haha. Baked the Snake says, good point. Chain of command and good training. Yes. Half the time employees aren't trained properly. Yeah, definitely. And that's something, when I was in that position at work, that's something I took very seriously. I always took my people, my associates that I was in charge of, and I would tell them, because for the longest time I spent a lot of time working in the back room unloading trucks, and we'd get new people, and my crew, until you get them all on the same page, they'd be like, oh, it's not my job to train them, like you train them and all this and that, like, rah. I'm like, and I would break it down to them. Sometimes you got to break things down in simpler terms for people, and I would tell them, like, look, this person is new. If you don't train them to do things how you would like it done, or to my standards and how you do things, they're going to constantly be in your way. They're just going to be a problem for you. So it's in your best benefit to train them. And not only that, when people have problems with that, you just go back down to the rules. Like, one of our top things is customer service to our customers, and you training this person is service to the customer. So if you don't want to help train them, for one, I'm asking you to help out. You're being insubordinate. But two, you're helping provide better service for the customer. And three, when it comes down to it, that shows up on your evaluation that you're a team player, that you're helping provide better service for our customer. You're going above expectations, and you're going above company expectations. You're only meeting mine. So getting people to realize those kinds of things, I think is very important. I think it's very important, definitely. Aggressively Relaxing says, I'm a tramp for a living. I do odd jobs around a community that loves and hates me and lives in the square's top clock tower illegally. Bake says, you're the hunchback at Notre Dame or Notre Dame. That's funny. Max Santiago says, bro, I'm going to order the Plot 1974, Blade Runner, and Black Widow Mini and Neon Future. Yeah, oh man, Max, you won't regret that. I'm telling you, the Plot is great. That is one of my, you obviously watched the video. That's definitely one of my top comics of this last year. The Blade Runner 2019 is really good. Those first 4 issues were really great in setting up the episode, or setting up the series. And now it was on, the first story arc was 4 issues, and they just started now with issue 5. And I feel like it's a small step back, but I thought it was still pretty good. A good setup going into the second story arc, and finding, because it fast forwards a few years in it. And the Black Widow, that's my favorite of the year, along with the Neon Future. Those are my top 2 for the year, definitely. The Black Widow No Restraints play. I obviously you watched the video, but it's a huge one for me because it's got like real world scenarios in it. And like I said, I have a family. I've got kids, and when it comes to like the human trafficking and all that kinds of stuff, chomos and stuff like that, like I'm not down with that stuff. And seeing that in that book was really good, because there's some pretty harsh situations in that book, and I'm like, man, like I was almost floored that Marvel would even put that in one of their comic books. And that's that book is what I wish we would get out of the Black Widow movie, although I don't see Disney ever making a movie like that. Baked the Snake says, exactly that's why the Patriots and just plug and play. Yeah, can just plug and play. Yeah, definitely. Having people in positions that know their position, what they need to do, and be ready to be called on, because you never know when your turn might be up. And that's something that I think Bill Belichick has really done, and obviously stressed into his team, into his coaches, into his players, into everybody that's on his roster, from him being the head coach down to position coaches and things like that. He expects perfection, and he expects you to know what's expected of you. It just comes with expectations. Aggressively says, in setting it's very Hunchback, but more Aladdin in practice. I finished songs about having a better life by looking at the landscape with the dream in my eye and wear a scarf. Oh, you're too funny, dude. I'm telling you, aggressively. Do you do stand-ups, man? Do you do stand-up comedy, or maybe you should actually be a writer on a TV show, bro? Like seriously, like I think you should, because you dude, like you're in here just leaving, just interacting in the chats, and you crack me up, dude. Yeah, and Max Santiago says, I'm going to check out your content today aggressively. You should. I think everybody should. Definitely, I can't remember how I came across Aggressively Relaxing's channel, but when I first started watching his videos, I was hooked. I was like, dude, this guy is funny, dude. Like, this dude makes me chuckle. Just funny stuff. Victor Snake says, fine, thanks. Has finished up work and relaxing for the rest of the day. Awesome. So I'm guessing you must work overnights then? That's cool, man. I could never do that, man. The overnight thing. I wasn't built for that. Aggressively says, hey, thanks, Max. I make fake news, trademark, and tell spam callers about comics until they hang up. You know what, Aggressively? You've actually inspired me to any time that I get some of those telemarketing calls. I ask them about comic books and if they've been reading it. Especially those ones where you got to push 9 to talk to a representative. It's hilarious. Max says, awesome sauce. I have a lot of doubles this weekend. I'm relaxing before I begin the madness. Oh yeah, man, that's rough. Got some double shifts coming, huh? Baked the Snake says, yeah, that's great, Aggressive. Something we can all relate to. We all get those damn cold calls. Yeah, we do, man. Yeah, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. Some of his videos, like he got one of the guys that told him to F off, man. I was dying. I was driving. I almost crashed. Yeah, by the way, you're still getting the bill in the mail for that, Aggressively. You're getting the bill in the mail for that, for making me crash. AFK Bar says, I kind of view it as a strip mall of business that are unique, but all rent from the same building owner. Yeah, definitely. I'm guessing you're talking about content creation. Yeah. The owner keeps changing the rules and making it harder and harder for those businesses to stay functional. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, they do that, and some of it in the name of COPPA. Max Santiago says, I'm looking for new material to like. Yeah, and if you're looking for content creators, man, I'm telling you, aggressively is definitely a good one. And I think a lot of the people that I've been lucky enough to come across here on YouTube, I've found a lot of great creators out there, man. Some of them small creators that seriously need attention. Another one of my favorite ones is Chillmonger. Here on YouTube, he's a great creator. He talks a lot about comic books as well, and he has his own opinions, man, and he knows his shit. He breaks down the comic books good, and he doesn't just review comic books. Like he'll give you backstories. Like I said, it's very impressive what Chillmonger does with his content. I love his videos. I love his insights and things like that. Whether I agree with him or not all the time, he likes Ironheart. He likes Ms. Marvel. Some of those kinds of things, books that I haven't really ever read. And to me are like, somewhat silly characters or anything, but like he knows his shit and he's passionate about what he's doing. So that's something I think all of us should be, if we're a content creator, when you're making videos, be passionate about what you're talking about and what you're doing. I think that's the ultimate key, because even if you're talking about stuff that nobody else really cares about, if you're passionate about it, you will make other people be passionate about what you're passionate about. And I think that's very very important from that standpoint. If you're passionate about it, it turns something that would normally be boring to somebody into something interesting. And ultimately, man, like, it's how you change the world, man. You know what I mean? It's how you we all got to kind of shape and mold the world to how we'd see fit, to what we'd want to be, without changing people. You know what I mean? Without trying to force people into something. Something that we see far too much out of in comic books and movies and just the entertainment industry in general. But a lot of that still comes out of the fact that somebody's passionate for something, and I think that's very important when it comes to things like that. Definitely. So yeah, and that's again, we see that in a lot of creators here on YouTube, where you can see some people that are more passionate for some things than they are for others. Like I kind of, I started my channel out wanting to talk about Marvel theories and things like that. A lot of those videos out there, and that's what I started off in wanting to do. Some of that clickbait content for normies is what I now call it. That's what I wanted to do, because I like building my own theories. So it's something I still do, and something I'm going to be working on here over these next couple of weeks is some theories that I have for the MCU coming up with the Disney Plus streaming service and stuff like that. But also, I kind of got into the comic book realm, because I was just got back into reading comics, about almost 2 years ago now at this point. And something I just wanted to share. I wanted to share the things that I like about it. And even then, I go and I still find other channels out there who are maybe have a little more passion for it than me, and they're a little bit more knowledgeable. And like I said, Chillmonger is one of those ones. I go to his videos and I watch him. I can tell he got the passion for it, but I actually learned something from a lot of his videos. He's not doing just your basic simple reviews like you see me flapping my gums about him. You know what I mean? But again, I kind of format my videos a little bit differently than he does his in that sense. So yeah, definitely something cool. That I like out there, and ultimately I just want to see other people succeed, and I just want to see great content out there from great creators. But yeah, guys, I guess it's already been an hour, guys. Thank you guys so much for being here. I do appreciate it. Like I said, I am going to kind of start to, going here into the new year, going to start to kind of change up the format of the channel just a little bit, just in the sense that like I probably will be mostly dropping my comic book pull lists on my Facebook. So if you want to see those, make sure you go follow me on Facebook at Second Street Marvel. You can follow me on Instagram as well at Second Street Marvel, and even on Twitter, where I'm just a little more silly over on Twitter and having fun and stuff like that, because Twitter is just like, it's a weird universe over there, man. It's like, I used to think, part of the reason when I left Facebook was, people were always so outraged and stuff like that about stuff. But then I got to Twitter, because I never really got on Twitter, and I was like, holy crap, like, where did these people come from? But anyway, guys, thank you all so much for being here once again to watch me flap my gums. If there's ever anything that you need help with, that you need some advice on, or you just need, an outside ear or anything on, man, I would love to be of service to you and to help you out in any way, shape, or form that I can. Even though I might not be an expert in something, I might be able to find somebody that can help you. I might know somebody, or have a resource of something that can help you in that sense. So, that's something I've always kind of looked forward to, is, helping people out. And, I think that's ultimately what brings us more together. That's something that provides value for more people. And ultimately, if you are a content creator here on YouTube, or really anywhere else, especially in your life, in your personal life, with people that you interact with every day, you got to find something that you're passionate about, and, find a way to add value to others. I think that's something very important, is always adding value to others. But anyway, guys, thank you all so much for being here. I do greatly appreciate it. You guys all have a very good day. Have a great Friday, and we'll see you all in the next video. All right. Oh man, we'll see you guys later. Have a good one, and have a great weekend. We'll see if we get any content dropped this weekend, any videos or anything like that as well. So you guys have a very good day, and we'll see you in the next video. Later. Oh man, now I gotta pick. Oh, see now.
Marvel, but no word as to its rating. How do you think, not how do you want it to turn out, how do you think it